Next, and for the last speaker, but we have our very honorable, Venerable Arjia Rinpoche. Arjia Rinpoche was recognized at a very tender age as the abbot of Kumbum monastery, as the reincarnation of the father of Tsongkhapa. After the Chinese occupation of Tibet and during the onset of the Cultural Revolution, Arjia Rinpoche, like many Tibetans at that time of upper social strata, as well as those deemed to be working against the Chinese occupation of Tibet, was condemned to 18 years of demeaning hard labor. And then after Mao Tse Tung's death, Arjia Rinpoche was reinstated, and he went on to become vice chairman of the Buddhist Association of China, and was slated to become its chairman. I think it must also be noted that Arjia Rinpoche has to be one of the leading Tibetan figures who sort of witnessed at close quarter the precursor to the Chinese interference of Tibetan religious tradition, which as of now, sort of hovers over the Tibetan political landscape as probably the biggest threat to the Tibetan issue. What with the Chinese Communist Party taking it upon themselves, the task of recognizing the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama after he passes away, and which I think is bound to happen. So on that note, I think Arjia Rinpoche at that time, himself having, he has this book, which Arjia Rinpoche has this book which just came out. It's called Surviving the Dragon, which I think is a very important sort of account of what really transpired, and important on many levels, political, spiritual, and also not to mention in terms of what is probably going to happen in Tibet. So with that, Arjia Rinpoche, please.
Thank you. Between those two ladies, I'm just like a sandwich. Anyway, I listened to Tse that book, and as an exiled Tibetan, grew up outside Tibet, then went back to Tibet, their homeland, and through their eyes and see the landscape and people, and that book is really amazing. I would like to, after you publish, then I would like to have one. Then also the Miss Kenyan Sounds, that book is very fascinating. Same as that occasion, recently we had a bridge conference in New York. So on that conference, almost the same as that event. The difference is they had lots of Chinese students there, so it was really good. Then one scholar, she's a Chinese scholar, then Miss Lee. When Miss Lee, stand up and give a talk, then I thought she's maybe going to criticize Dalai Lama. I'm a little bit kind of nervous, or not really. A bridge conference should be like a friendly, maybe make some kind of little argument or something. Then I'm worried, but then eventually I find out, and then she's writing a book which is described the 1950 to 1959, particularly what's happened in the Amdo region, and actually it's our hometown, you know. So that's she's just not you know, writing a book. She had lots of information. So to describe why the 1958 and 1959 happened, you know. So then that's really it's an amazing book. And then finally she asked me to write a foreword, and then I said definitely I would like to do that. So anyway, so that's you know, that's really inspired me. You know, the scholars, you know, they studied everything. Of course, that's a different condition. You know, in outside Tibet, that's a free country. They have a lot of information. Then they can go back and forward to the research and the learning, study, interviews. So they can tell the truth eventually. So that is not really for confrontation, but it's a dialogue and you know, conversation. So that's a really it's a wonderful thing. So anyway, the Oakland Asian Culture Center and the Tibetan Association in Bay Area, you know, made that wonderful event. So that's really it's a fascinating thing. I'm very pleased. Anyway, I recently also just finished my memoir. Then when I write this book, I had a kind of goal, which is not really a fame or gain. So when 1998 I escaped from China, then I don't have any place to stay and I don't have any friends. So then we, first of all, we're in New York. Then soon after we moved to Los Angeles. And then after that, several days, and then moved to Bay Area. Then soon after that, we find a place in Mill Valley. Then I started my book. Why the book is very important to me? Then the first reason, you know, I don't have any information, everything in my mind. So that's why I have to write them right away. Otherwise, you know, I can't remember everything. So today, still have this problem. When I talk to our friend, they said, "Oh, you didn't tell this story to us," like that. Then I'm still remembering some. So anyway, so that's just one reason. The second reason is the 50, 60 years history. You know, that's. Of course, the Tibetans grew up in Tibet or grew up in outside Tibet. They don't know really the history. So not only Tibetans, the young Chinese also, they don't know the history. So that's why I think that's a history or the story. You know, my story is really not covering everything, but just through my eye and my own experiences to describe everything, you know, what happened in that 50 and 60 years. So, for instance, 1950s. I was born in 1950. So the 50s, early 50s in Tibet, just like the olden time, you know, I listened to both of them. They, in our place, exactly they call Jitso Ningba, Jitso Sarba, which means like the olden time and the new time, like that. So that's 50s already, you know, the Chinese Communist government in our place. However, the style just like the olden Tibet, you know. So then I was, you know, recognized by the 10th Panchen Lama as a reincarnation of the abbot of Kumbum. Then I went to Kumbum. I, you know, grew up there. So that time the Kumbum monastery is one of the biggest monastery in Tibet, you know, in eastern Tibet. We have 4,000 monks in our monastery. Then I was treated as a little king exactly in Chinese they say Ho Fo, which means like a living Buddha, you know, treated me as a living Buddha. So that's, you know, life and everything you can imagine. So late 50s, everything has changed. Because the reason that time the Chinese government started the political campaign called Great Leap Forward,